So you're looking to buy some sleeves. Now, chances are you're probably going to buy them online or at your LGS. Now, if you're buying from your LGS, you can just see what other people are using and make your judgment from there and make your purchase. But if you're buying online, it's a lot harder to tell what you're going to get. So I've decided to kind of do an overview of the top 3 sleeve manufacturers as far as trading cards go, at least what I think are the top 3, which is Ultra Pro, Dragonshields, and KMC. They all have their high points and they all have their low points. I'm not going to tell you what sleeve is the best. That's up for you, or that's up to you to decide. But if anything, you can see what the colors look like. You can see just some of the stuff. I'm going to judge them by what I look for out of sleeves. You may look for something different, but yeah, hopefully you get something out of it. So we're just going to start right off the bat, and we're going to go with shuffleability, which I don't think is a word, but we're going to say okay, it is. Now, I mash shuffle, sorry, which is where you take, you split your deck into 2. You take the corner of one end, and you take the sides of the other. You kind of hit them like that, and then just go through. It's a very common form of shuffling. And yeah, that's just how I shuffle. So that's how these sleeves are going to be judged. So the Ultra Pros shuffle extremely well. These are some of the reds. There's not many, but I've never had a problem with Ultra Pro shuffling. That's not a very good test group. But as you can tell, I don't like sleeves with art on the back. I find that with shuffling over time, there's this added friction to like glossy backed sleeves or sleeves with art. It could just be me, but as far as my preference, I do not enjoy sleeves with art. They're just hard for me to shuffle after a while, so I try to stick with either matte backed and just solid colors. So Ultra Pros shuffle very nice. They're very smooth. Dragonshields are very inconsistent with the way they're made, which means that some of them shuffle fantastic and some of them shuffle like garbage. So we'll do this. This is a set that shuffles well. These are the Dragonshield Golds, and they shuffle fairly nicely. But see, the problem with Dragonshields is their seam. Sorry, Dragonshields also get dirty. The seam on the side is extremely thick. So take these orange, for example. You can actually see the extra plastic there. It's just so thick. And these don't shuffle very well. They catch because the bottom of the sleeves, I don't know if I could show that to you, but they kind of hook down. And when there's extra plastic on the sides, where they adhere the clear plastic and the back plastic, it actually creates little hooks at the bottom, and you can't get the cards in all that well. I have to struggle to do that, so I'm forced to either bridge shuffle or pile shuffle. So I don't really use these sleeves. Kind of a waste of money there. But yeah, so Dragonshields, they're kind of a gamble. When they're really good, they shuffle extremely well, but you can have a bad batch with extra thick sides, and they won't shuffle that well, as far as mash shuffling goes. KMCs, these are different lines, by the way. These are all solid color or matte back Ultra Pros. Dragonshields really don't have a separate line, it's just different colors. The first 4 here on the KMCs, the orange, the green, the blue, and the silver, those are the Super Series. The brown here is the matte series, and the white is pearl white. I guess their super line doesn't run white for some reason, otherwise I would have got it. So KMCs actually shuffle pretty well. But after a while, every now and then, they get some friction. These do not shuffle nearly as fluidly as the Dragonshields do when they shuffle right. But they still shuffle fairly decent. Now the pearl whites, which seem to be a cross between a matte back and a gloss back, they're like the hybrid, they are so smooth. They are absolutely perfect to shuffle. I love these sleeves. It's like butter, and I don't want to start talking about butter because then I'm going to have to stop the recording and just go eat some butter. So KMCs, for the most part, when you first get them, shuffle fairly well. Probably the first 10 or 20 games, but eventually they're going to get a little bit of friction, but it's not horrible. It's not to the point where you're not going to be able to mash shuffle. So I think Ultra Pros actually mash shuffle the best, followed by Dragonshields, followed by KMCs. Now, Dragonshields, like I said, are a gamble. So, unfortunately, yeah, you are going to have to gamble with it. Now, another thing I look for out of sleeves is I don't like the top of sleeves, or I don't like the double sleeve, I should say. So when I look at sleeves, I look at the gap between the plastics, or the two sides. I don't know if I can get that to show up. That gap there. Since I don't like the double sleeve, I look for the smallest gap, because I want the cards to not get the gucky. And Ultra Pros, for the most part, are pretty good. There's not that big of a gap, but there is a slight gap on the top. Now, if you double sleeve, you're not going to care about this, but for those of you that don't like to double sleeve, might be useful information. Now, the Dragonshields, when you get them, they come super curved, and I don't know if that helps the gap on top, but when you get Dragonshields out of a box, they're going to look like that. They're going to be extremely curved. Don't worry about that. That'll go away over time. But I think that's what causes it, but it creates a very small gap. Now, this has actually a larger gap because it's double sleeved, but there's like little to no gap there. It not adheres, but the gap on Dragonshields on the top is very small, which I appreciate because I use them for EDH, and like I said, I don't like to double sleeve. So Ultra Pros aren't bad. Dragonshields are by far the best when it comes to gap on top. KMCs are god awful. Like, I don't know if I can even the matte one, hopefully you can see a little bit. Like I said, sorry guys, this lighting is horrible, but you can see the gap on the white there. It's pretty large, and it gets extremely large here with the blue. Like, that's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. And you know, as crap gets in it. But yeah, so KMCs, they have a horrible gap on top, and if you don't double sleeve, you're gonna get a bunch of crap into your sleeve, or onto your card, if you don't double sleeve. Like I said, you guys might double sleeve, and this might not be an issue for you, but for me, you know, I'm gonna go with the Dragonshields as far as the gap, then Ultra Pro, and then KMC. Now, as far as scuff marks and how they stay clean, Ultra Pros stay fairly clean. And I can't say scuff mark protection, but with mass shuffling, you're going to be kind of forcing the cards against each other. You're going to get a lot of scratches, like little mini scratches. And Ultra Pro actually holds up very well, at least that I've found. Now, Dragonshields, they're okay. They're not fantastic, but you will see a little bit of scuff marks. It's not a huge deal. I did that completely backwards. KMCs, they actually kind of, the plastic fades. The clear plastic, it fades over time. And I don't know why. I don't know if you guys can even see. But it just gets this fogginess to it after a while. And, you know, I like clarity in my sleeves. So, yeah. I'm not going to rate KMC too high as far as longevity, because they do fog up and they do get quite a bit of scuff marks on them. But the other two are pretty fine. Ultra Pro, surprisingly to me, have held up the longest as far as staying clean. Another bad thing about Dragonshields, if we're going over cleanliness, is I have OCD when it comes to washing my hands. So my hands are always clean, at least fairly clean. And every now and then, Ultra Pros get this, I don't know if you can see this white gunk here. It looks like wax. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the camera. And I don't know what that is, but you can see it really bad on the skull clamp up there. It happens on about half of the Dragonshield sleeves that I own. I don't know if it's just gunk from the playmat or whatever that eventually builds on it, but it will build over and over again. You know, like you see on the border of the Arid Mesa there. I don't know what causes it, but Dragonshields do get pretty dirty, unfortunately. Like I said, some do, some don't. It really just depends on the color or, you know, the type of sleeve. Dragonshields, you're going to hear throughout this, are a huge gamble because they are very inconsistent. And speaking of consistency, let's just go ahead and get into it. Ultra Pros, I have never had a problem with consistency. They are always cut to the same height. There's no big gap between the lengths. Their quality control is fantastic. I've never had a problem. KMCs, again, I've never had a problem with cut. They're all the same length. They're fantastic. Dragonshields, I've had nothing but problems. I really like Dragonshields as far as EDH goes, and since I primarily play EDH, that's kind of what I have the most of. And I don't know if they even have quality control where they make these, but they are so different from box to box. And your Dragonshields will come in a box like this of 100. When they are great, or when they're good, they're fantastic. Like these purples here, best set of sleeves I own. They are just amazing. These purples here, like I showed you with the shuffling, I can't even use. I mean, I can use them, but I can't shuffle them very well, so, you know, really, what's the point? And another problem with Dragonshields is when you buy a box, it says you're buying 100. That's not necessarily true. I've had boxes that have 105, 100, I think the highest I had was 111, 12. And you're thinking, you know, cool, they're sending extra sleeves. I don't know if this is intentional, but I think they do it because they know that their sleeves are shit as far as, like, length. Sorry, I don't mean to cuss, but they don't do a good job making sure that all the sleeves are the same length. So I think they just throw some extra sleeves in there just to kind of, you know, balance it out. Now that's okay because every now and then, or in some boxes, you only have 1 or 2 sleeves that are poor. But my sister bought a blue set of these. I actually had a blue set. I gave them to my sister because hers were cut so poor that they actually, the top part of the card was showing. It was above the sleeve where it was cut, and that was all 99 of them. They were worthless. Absolutely worthless. But as you can see here, I'm going to push these cards down to the bottom. Sorry, I have these kind of reversed. But I don't know if you can see the difference there. I'm going to line them up. Those are lined up on the bottom. That's the difference. I can tell where this card is, whatever card is in this sleeve, every time. There's just such a huge gap. And unfortunately, that box only came with 100. So, you know, I switched my commanders into a different color, so it worked out okay. But, I mean, they're just very inconsistent. And there's another extended sleeve in the gold, and those only had 100 in them as well. So, Dragonshields are very hit and miss. Like I said, when they're good, they're fantastic. But you could just have a box that's extremely poor, and you could just be wasting money. So, it's really up to you if you want to use them or not. Now, a big issue with sleeves is how opaque they are. A lot of people don't like to double sleeve, and even in double sleeving, you can see the cards on their side. So, I have some of these set up to where the front of the card is facing the back of the sleeve, just to kind of show. I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see that, but you can actually see that card completely on the lighter Ultra Pros, even some of the darker ones. Like, I don't know if it's going to pick up on camera. That should. But you can see the complete back of the sleeve, or of the card, which isn't horrible because, you know, for the most part, it's just going to show the back of Magic the Gathering, so they get a little white dot there and the other dots. But, you know, if you do use, you know, double-faced cards from Innistrad and, you know, all that jazz, you're not going to be able to use these, and they're not going to be tournament legal because you're going to be able to see what card's coming up. But the blacks are fine, the blues fine. These 4 are not fantastic. And Ultra Pros are probably the worst, at least these solid colored matte backs, as far as being opaque, because they're really not. Now, on the Dragonshields, the pink's okay. The orange is horrible. I think you guys can see that. That's not very good. Black's good. Some dust on here. The gold is fantastic. The purple is fantastic. The white is crap. And the red isn't too bad. So a lot of the lighter colors on the Dragonshields aren't going to be good. Pretty much just the orange and the white. The rest of these are pretty good. Oh, pink too. So, you know, the darker colors, which is to be expected, are more opaque than others. I'm getting all unorganized here, sorry. And KMC, the mattes, as far as all these sleeves, these are the best as far as being opaque. You can't see anything through that. The white, again, is crap. The blue isn't bad. Silver's fantastic. The green's awesome. And the orange is, you can see a little bit of the card. I'm not sure if it's going to show up on camera. So, you know, for the most part, it depends on the color of the sleeve and how light it is. But, you know, if you're worried about them being opaque, get a darker color. Sorry, guys, there's like dust and animal hair. I apologize. But, yeah. So, you know, Every company has some that are good, some that are bad. Now, price-wise, the Ultra Pros are going to be your cheapest, and they'll kind of show, I guess. I've had Ultra Pro split more than any other sleeve. It sucks, but I mean, I guess you kind of get what you pay for because they are the cheapest. But they don't split that often, so don't think that like every single set of sleeves you get, they're going to split. It's rare, but it still happens more often than the other two sleeves. So keep that in mind. Next, KMCs are a little bit more expensive than Ultra Pros. But like I said, it might be with my mass shuffling, but you can see here the ripple on those. This happens to every KMC sleeve I own. I own about 7 pairs, or 7 sets. I don't know what causes the ripple, but the ripple makes the gap even bigger, which adds to more dirt getting into the sleeves. But as far as splitting, they don't split. I've never had a split KMC, ever. And, you know, they hold up fairly well, but look out for the ripple and the fading on the clear plastic. Now, Dragonshields, they're super thick on the sides. Like I said, you can even see the additional on these orange, which is just, you know, horrible cutting. But they feel very durable. They're very thick sleeves, which might take you getting used to. Like, Ultra Pros are very thin. They almost feel they almost feel extremely cheap. Dragonshields feel the exact opposite of that. They feel like it's too much plastic, but I've grown to love them. As far as thickness, they hold up fantastic. I've never had a single thing happen to a Dragonshield sleeve. Like, when they're good, they hold up. So hopefully you get the good set of sleeves, whichever color you may choose, and hopefully you get it. But they're extremely durable. I've never had a problem. They hold up extremely well to mass shuffling, especially EDH Commander, because I'm shuffling, you know, like 100 of them, and you know I can't be that graceful with it, so I have to force it every now and then. And they've held up extremely well. As far as durability goes, Dragonshields are just amazing. But Dragonshields for the box do cost $10 roughly. You might be able to get it a little cheaper at your LGS or online, but you know the norm is about $10 for a box of 100. But you are getting 100, so you know that works out. Also, if you don't go with the full 100, you can also use this as just a deck box because it does hold sleeved cards, but I think it only holds about 80 or 75 sleeved cards in the box, so it won't be good for an EDH Commander deck box. But yeah, that being said, just a really quick overview. Just kind of wanted you guys to see some comparisons on the sleeves. If you're kind of going for a tournament play, like if you're just going to go play, you know, PTQ for, you know, just the day or whatever, or just a tournament for like 2 days, and that's as long as you're going to use the sleeves, I do recommend KMCs because they are fantastic right when you get, I mean, the first 10, 20 games, they're awesome. But they do add some friction throughout their shuffling cycle and their life cycle. And again, the ripple, the fading, and the opening kind of sucks. Ultra Pros, they're an awesome budget option. Even if, I won't even say budget, they're just the cheapest option, but they're pretty damn good. The gap on top is nice, they shuffle amazingly, they're cut, you know, perfect every single time. The only problem is that every now and then they split. Again, that's just my, from my experience. That may be different for you guys. Dragonshields, I highly recommend for EDH or Commander. You get the 100, which is great. Even if you get one poor sleeve, like, you know, my pinks and my gold did, you know, you can change out the one color for your Commander. It's not a big deal. And that's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, it's just a quick overview. These are just like the top 3 sleeve makers, or the top 3 sleeves. So I thought I'd go over them, kind of give some comparisons, let you guys see what makes them different, what I, at least my opinion, what I think the highs and lows are, the pros and cons of each sleeve, because trust me, every one of them does have a pro and a con at least. Hey guys, if you liked this video, do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Also, feel free to click on the videos down below to see other great content my channel has to offer. I can't promise you that it's going to be entertaining. I can't promise you that it'll be educational and that you'll learn something, but I can make you one promise, and that is that every single video I upload will have at least one fat person in it.